of soaring wings and the smooth action of the new Ford soft transverse springs with a balance and ease of gulls in flight. A stabilized ride, new cushioned comfort, ease and quiet, new travel luxury in every Ford car.
Get the feel of V8 performance. See your nearest Ford dealer for a ride in the quality car in the low price field.
Deep in the forest, quiet reigns supreme. Restfully quiet. Soothingly quiet in the great outdoors. And soothingly quiet riding inside the new Ford, because it is scientifically soundproof for your greater riding ease and comfort.
Get the feel of V8 performance. See your nearest Ford dealer for a ride in the quality car in the low price field.
Oh, Ellen, darling, we're all so proud of you.
This is a great day for me, having my daughter graduate an honor student.
Oh, Daddy.
Oh, Ellen, just a moment. Look over here. Well, how do you like it?
You don't mean, Daddy, that it's really mine?
It's all yours, and here are the keys.
Oh, Daddy.
All right.
Come on, girls, let's go for a ride. Here, Mother. Oh, a new Ford. And what a lovely color. And such a roomy seat.
And now, Ellen, you also have the key to style leadership.
Get the feel of V8 performance. See your nearest Ford dealer for a ride in the quality car in the low price field.
Certainly is one beautiful spot. Wait till we get a few thousand feet higher. I see you got the new Ford. Yeah, Jim. When we decided on coming to the mountains, I figured I'd need all the power I could in job. Sure made good time on those mountain roads. Well, just as I said, if you want power, get a Ford.
Get the feel of V8 performance. See your nearest Ford dealer for a ride in the quality car in the low price field.
In this high-powered age of speed and travel, safety, protection of the passenger, is of greatest importance. Every safety feature is built into the new Ford too, including large hydraulic brakes, safety glass, all-steel body, and clear vision.
Get the feel of V8 performance. See your nearest Ford dealer for a ride in the quality car in the low price field.
In aquaplaning, the most thrilling of all sports, you must have perfect balance. A a low center of gravity. To get perfect performance. Balance is engineered into the entire Ford car. Low center of gravity, ability to hold the road. That's why its performance excels.
Get the feel of V8 performance. See your nearest Ford dealer for a ride in the quality car in the low price field.
A mighty long way, but boy, what a swell service job today. Pardon me, folks, if I point with pride to our new set of Ford parts inside.
We'll never let you down. We're genuine Ford replacements. Inspected, tested, and ready for action. Let's go! Hey, down there. Who are you?
Who, me? I'm where? I'll wear you down.
You'll just wear yourself out while I go to town. I'll bash you. That'll smash you, I guess. Why, impact? To me, that's just a caress. Corrosion, that's me. This'll fix him. See?
I'm heat. Oh, that hurts.
Ha-ha, not with these tungsten seed inserts. No, not smart. Just a real Ford part.
Oh, boy! Another car! We can hardly wait.
It's no use, fellas. It's another Ford V8.
Yes, sir. Our four little friends soon learned that the Ford V8 sure can take it. Behind the service entrance of Ford dealerships, many facilities are available to assure continued economical and outstanding performance of your Ford car. Dealers' servicemen are continually studying and learning advanced methods in the performance of their work. At frequent intervals, new information and improved methods are made known to the servicemen through the service letters and bulletins. Special equipment such as the all-position engine stand permits servicemen to perform operations easily and conveniently. The headlights of your car may be properly aimed in a few moments' time, even in broad daylight, to provide you with the best driving illumination for your safety. Special equipment and instruments are available which afford an accurate analysis of the battery in your car. Higher driving speeds combined with large low-pressure tires necessitates accurate wheel alignment for greatest ease of handling, steadiness on the road, and longer tire life. And the dynamic balancer provides the same type of test through which the wheels and tires of new cars must pass before they're approved by the factory inspectors. Behind the trained service organization with the specialized and precision equipment is a supply of genuine Ford parts readily available to allow performing any operations necessary in a minimum time. And now, we'll let the Ford parts speak for themselves.
Step right up, folks, and see these great precision performers. Each and every one a genuine Ford part. The amazing Piston Brothers. Always in perfect harmony. Masters of equilibrium in their daring feat of proper balance. Now, cast your eyes on those new type replacement rings. Designed for quick pickup and getaway. Watch those rings expand. And over here, the precision act of the century. 16 lively little springs in an unexcelled feat of uniformity of tension. See what I mean? These service parts, and many more Ford dealers can supply. Each rigid test ensures the best. We're genuine. That's why.
of living, so work beginning new standards of living, so work beginning new standards of living, so work beginning new work, so work, work, work. We'd rather be busy than shirk. It's fun to be giving new standards of living, so work, work, work. And happy and healthy, so work, work, work. in, we're built to excel in with 8V8. We're naturally proud to relate. You'll say, my good gracious, such comfort so spacious with 8V8. People at play, night in Manhattan, they're only starting the day. Come along and see that happy isle, where the smile that wins, staying home is out of style. Wake up, life begins at night in Manhattan.
Night in a big city. A kaleidoscope turning to the rhythm of swing time till far beyond midnight. And then the rhythm changes. Playtime is over. Homeward bound. The end of an evening's fun for some. For others, the end of an evening's work. Bright lights are no longer bright. The streets become quiet. Even steel and stone lose themselves in the dark stillness. And at last, the city is asleep. Or is is it? No, a vital part of the city is very much awake. Thousands of men, thousands of trucks, the life stream of any community flowing tonight and every night, so that tomorrow morning the city will be able to carry on as usual. Men and trucks working while the city sleeps, working so evenly, so smoothly, that they and the important things they bring are taken for granted. We couldn't easily exist without them, for they provide us with the very necessities of daily living. Down the highways that lead like arteries to the heart of every town, big and small, come the rolling wheels. Tomorrow, fresh fruit and vegetables will be needed. And in the country, ton after ton is loaded on trucks. Then city-bound, perishable cargoes rolling swiftly toward their destination. Tomorrow, fresh milk will be needed. And from country depots, trucks bring in thousands and thousands of gallons. Drivers working on schedule, so that milk, essential to the health of adults and little children, will arrive on schedule at the great city pasteurizing plants in the wee small hours. And moving forward steadily as the hands of the clock, a mighty flow of men and machines on every highway, so that you and I may have fuel for our cars tomorrow. So that you and I may read the newspapers tomorrow. So that tomorrow we may have electric power and fresh bread right out of the oven. The commodities we require, the luxuries we've become accustomed to. Fragile blossoms on the one hand, on the other, building materials of every kind, freight of every kind. That new automobile we ordered, everything moving ahead on trucks. Nearly every necessity, nearly everything that graces modern life, rolling through the dark and into the dawn, setting the stage for a new day that is almost here. And a very nice day it is, too. Come on, friend. Let's get up. And now for him, as for millions of others, there begins again the daily routine. An immediate flood of clear, sparkling water. Commonplace, not worth a second thought. But commonplace only because of careful maintenance. Because night after night, watchful crews care for the giant pipelines, keep the water flowing. Commonplace, too, the electric toaster at the breakfast table. But behind the glowing coils are more men and more trucks in the night, maintaining power lines, doing difficult jobs that have to be done right. So that toasters toast, percolators perk, and electricity is available for any use at any time. Let's look at this typical breakfast, examine it more carefully, and find out just how it got on the table. Orange juice, of oranges arriving regularly from Florida or California. And there are trucks in the picture. Fresh cream, rich and smooth, carried 100 miles only a few hours ago by truck. And these eggs, direct from the farm. A truck brought them. Here's bacon that started for this table from 1,000 miles away. Coffee and the sugar that goes with it. Both from far-off places, and always trucks, trucks, trucks. Yes, every morning when people awake in big cities or in the smallest villages, they find markets crowded with good things to eat. Fresh good things brought by truck from every point on the map. Celery from California or Kalamazoo. Green vegetables from the green valleys of the west and the coastal plains of the east. Potatoes from New Jersey, Maine, Idaho. Pork from the southwest or from up in Iowa or Illinois. Beef from Texas, Kansas, Nebraska. At the markets, fresh food of every variety, originating in 1,000 places. And at stores, fresh merchandise, thanks to trucks. Household articles of all kinds, originating in manufacturing plants throughout America. Refrigerators loaded in Ohio or Michigan for delivery in Oregon or Georgia. Furniture built in Chicago and Grand Rapids. Starting off by truck for New Orleans and Baltimore. Fabrics from the South, from the Eastern Seaboard. Clothing, dresses from New York, gloves from New England. Manufactured goods of every variety brought in by truck. And raw materials, too. Products of the rich American earth, backbone of America's industries. These, too, travel by truck. For where the truck is concerned, no job is too tough or too big. Powerful and sturdy, convenient, economical, fast. No wonder trucks play so large a part in carrying the nation's freight. And the Ford Motor Company, proud of having pioneered low-cost personal transportation for millions, is equally proud of the Ford V8 truck, which brings to more millions at lower cost the best things in life. For 20 years, Ford-built trucks have played feature roles in the vital drama of transportation, a drama of machines and of men, men who are courteous, efficient, courageous, machines that are dependable, rugged. Together, trucks and the men who drive them are helping to maintain in America the highest standard of living the world has ever known.
Certainly make a wonderful wedding gift. Wish I could find time to drive out there, too.
Look, John. They're back to their first love.
Oh, look, Bob. I can move over without getting all tangled up.
Sure, that's the new gear shift lever. But here's what interests me. Nice, wide seat, clear vision, and...
Now, John, you're not buying a car for yourself, you know.
Pardon my enthusiasm, Mother, but do you remember our bridal coach? Just 2 horsepower, wasn't it?
And that nosy old coachman.
Yes. Well, I guess that settles it. Can you deliver this car in time for the wedding Saturday noon? It will be there, Mr. Allen.
Oh, Dad, you're precious. A wonderful wedding gift and a grand trip to the San Diego Fair. I'm the happiest person in the world.
Pretty good test for a car. Massachusetts to Southern California. Not a test. An opportunity to prove everything I've told you.
Gee, I'm crazy about it.
Break for me, coast to coast, a trip to the San Diego Fair, and a couple of honeymooners. Whoopee, whoopee! the greatest metropolis in the world. Skyscrapers and subways, bright lights and traffic, and 10 million people always on the go.
Where do you think you're going?
The San Diego Fair.
Never mind that, sister. Pencil your license. Honeymooners, eh? Well, I guess you two are up in the clouds. Why don't you go up there and take a look? At least you'll be able to see where you're going.
Niagara Falls, the mightiest cataract in the Western Hemisphere, spillway of the 4 great Western lakes, holding half of the entire world's supply of fresh water. Getting a great kick out of this.
Bob, that reminds me, we want a shower bath in our new home, too.
Right.
Shower bath. Shucks. I'll show them something that will open their eyes. Let's go. Sweet home. This certainly is home, sweet home to me. And here's where millions of us have been made for millions of you folks. You'll get even a better idea of the size of this great industrial achievement when you compare it with this. Here's where Mr. Ford built the first Ford car more than 30 years ago. And there it is. Just in time. Here comes Mr. Ford. Hi, boss. But even Mr. Ford couldn't build 1,000,000 of us in this small shop. And so, this great modern plant was built to serve you. Let me show you around, folks. See that? There's a big bucket full of new Ford cars just being poured. Hurrah! At last, those honeymooners are paying some attention. Rolling mill, folks. I can remember coming through here. That was a tight squeeze. Ooh. Wham! Zowie! You've got to be able to take it, you know, if you want to become a Ford. And here they come. V8 motor blocks, and each one made in a single casting. That's something. About being a V8. Gee, I'd like to stay here, but we are westward bound, and I'm raring to go. Was a demonstration of good brakes. The new positive action brakes on all Ford V8s give you just what you need when you need it most. The next stop, folks, Pikes Peak, more than 14,000 feet above sea level. And watch me climb it. Steep one, and I'll take it in high. They all look alike to me. See that nasty turn? Easy for me. With a short turning radius and transverse springs, I can turn on a dime and have a nickel left over. climb, and I'm not even breathing hard. What an eyeful.
What an eyeful.
Yes, they've seen Pikes Peak. And by now, they should be right in the middle of Zion National Park.
It's called one of the wonders of America.
And can't you just see them simply drinking in the beauties of nature?
Well, folks, again, those two seem to be missing all this marvelous scenery. But there's one big pleasure they can't miss. That's the Centerpoise ride of these new Ford V8s, combining comfort with stability and safety. The hottest spot in America, Death Valley. This sinister valley of heat and desolation used to be a man killer. Today, Ford V8 dependability sees you through in ease and comfort. Wonder if those honeymooners appreciate all this. About that. I've got it. I'll visit the San Diego Fair alone. Then I'll come back later to pick up those two lovebirds. They'll still be sitting there. So watch my speed. show you more. But why don't you visit us? It's a grand trip in a Ford V8. You will find us always at your service.
Square your shoulders and stretch your legs. There's plenty of room for three in the wider seats and the longer bodies of the great big 41 Ford. The deep, luxurious seat cushions are newly built and gently yielding. Forget the bumps. There's a new kind of level, easy-going ride. Don't make a deal till you take the wheel of the great big 41 Ford. I'm a used car, but I'm still in the prime of life. And why shouldn't I be? I'm a Ford. I was built for thousands of miles of carefree motoring. I'd like to climb the highest mountain or pull you out of the deepest sands to prove that I was built for hard usage. You'll find me here with my buddies, just raring to go. Ladies, if you would like to have a fine late model used car for the family, here's a suggestion that may help you. Visit our used car lot and select the car you like best. And let our salesman drive it out in the evening and show it to your husband. Right now, we are offering the finest in late model cars at amazingly low prices. Recently, professional men who always buy a new car each year have traded in their last year's models on new Ford V8s. Stop in tomorrow and see one of these very fine late model used cars. There's glamorous smartness to the interiors and deep, restful cushions. Come in and see how little a good-looking, comfortable, late model used car will cost you. Madam, are you hesitating to take that trip you've been wanting to go on so long just because you can't rely on your old car? Well, bring your husband to our used car lot and see for yourselves how little a fine late model car will cost you. Now is the time to trade in your old car on a fine late model used car. Men, do you realize the pleasure that you can bring to your wife and children by surprising them with a fine late model automobile? See our used cars tomorrow. You will be amazed to find so many very fine late model cars offered at such low prices and on such easy terms. We have the car that will make a hit with the whole family. The big new Ford has many surprises. Handy horn ring on steering wheel, remote control hood lock, keyhole ignition light, convenient crank control ventilator, fingertip gear shift, wider seats, gentle yielding cushions, one-piece curved rear window, new massive beauty, new softer ride. Don't make a deal till you take the wheel of the great big 41 Ford.
Bright and clear again. Every year the sun will shine for you. Have no fear, it's keeping fine for you. Holiday time is here again. Wonderful days are near again. Playtime, gay time, hip hooray, for happy holiday time is here.
Every year when summer comes again, say goodbye to work and worry, then it's holiday time. Do as Mrs. Brown will do, all pack up the little brownies to eat holiday time. Sun is here and not the sign of rain, skies are clear. Join the crowd and catch an early train from here. Mr. Brown and Mrs. Brown in blue, all dressed up tonight, the world to bet in our soul holiday time.
Every bottom candle flashing by, hello there.
Every taxi cab goes dashing by, got a fare.
No one seems to pay the slight heed, but a friend in need's a friend in need, just snuggle inside. In this place the troubles are ended, we'll soon be there, now haven't the care, comfy and cozy, life is more ordinary.
If only we had a car like this, John.
It's an idea anyway, if we could afford it. Of course you can.
Holiday time is here again, pack up your blues and cheer again.
You'll be gay and full of pep, the day's skies of grey will soon be swept away.
Jolly good times are near again, holiday time is here again.
Gay time, hip hooray for happy holiday time is here. Holiday time.
Say, did you see that? What is it?
Wow, I've never seen anything like that before, but she sure was traveling.
Well, it looks like news to me. I've got to get that.
Don't worry, I've got it in my camera.
Yeah, you may have it in your camera if your shutter works fast enough, but I want that story. Hey, Dave! Listen, Dave.
Slow down, Jim. Look up.
Never mind that. Do you see that car? Well, I've got to catch it. Can you do it?
Cash?
Spot cash if you can do it.
Okay, hop in. Well, Mike, turn her over.
Hey, Dave! Come on, let's get that car!
There it goes! Get down so I can get a closer look! What's the speed? How fast are we going?
Going about 90.
That's Badger Hill he's climbing now, but it doesn't seem to slow him down any. You see him take that curve? Hey, what kind of a car can huff the road like that? Down! Lower! I want to flag him! Okay, here we go. How's this? You seen us yet? Not yet! Get a bit ahead!
Well, thanks for stopping. Whew. Say, what kind of a car is this? You sure gave us a race.
What's the excitement?
Pardon me. I'm Jim Rawlins of the Gazette, writing automobile news. I saw that car of yours whizzing by, and I just had to find out about it. Now tell me, what is it and who makes it?
It's the Lincoln Zephyr, made by the Lincoln Motor Company.
Oh, so this is the new smaller Lincoln that everybody's been talking about, eh? And you call it the Zephyr?
No, sir. Lincoln Zephyr. Look at the name on the hubcap.
Well, it certainly is something new in the automobile world. Say, do you mind if I take a good look?
No, help yourself.
Thanks.
Pardon me, Jim, but how about that $10?
$10? For what? Oh, yes. $10, huh? There. There you are, Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sort of slipped my mind. Say, what kind of an engine have you got in here? Dave said you were going 90 miles an hour.
12-cylinder. It's a newly designed V12 engine developed and made in the Lincoln plant.
Well, what's the horsepower?
110 at 3,800 revolutions per minute. Want to see it?
I sure would like to. It looks like power, all right, and clean as a whistle.
It is power. It takes power to give the kind of modern performance this car has.
Well, you ought to know about engines, with all your Lincoln experience. It's the best-looking car I ever saw. Say, do you mind if I take some pictures?
Go as far as you like.
Thanks.
Would you care to take a ride?
Would I? Say, that's what I've been hoping for. I'll get the pictures later.
Oh, come on.
No running board, huh? One step in.
Exactly.
Certainly is close to the ground. Say, wait a minute if you don't mind. I'd like to look around. I didn't realize it was such a big car.
That's the streamlined design. Gives more room inside than you'd expect.
It surely does have room. And the trim and the upholstery. This is new. I've never seen anything like it.
Take a look at the instrument board. See how the gauges are grouped.
Oh, yes.
But now let's take a little ride. And keep your eye on the speedometer as we start.
All right.
20.
30. 40. 50. Say, that's stepping out in a hurry. Some acceleration.
If this gets too fast for you, say when.
Well, you're doing the driving. Show me anything you want to.
It isn't speed that's the real story in this car. It's the way she performs all around. Hills, smoothness over the bumps, curves. Here comes a sharp curve now. Watch.
$70. That's hugging the road and hardly any side sway.
Weight distribution and balance does it. They're just right in this automobile.
Hills don't mean much to this car, do they?
Not much. Would you like to see some stunts?
Well, that last 5 minutes looked like stunting to me.
That was ordinary. You haven't begun to see what this car will do.
All right, let's go. Say, if this were an ordinary car, I'd be rolling all around. It's marvelous how she keeps on an even keel.
That's what everyone says who rides in it. And the back seat rides as smoothly as the front.
Oh, it's wonderful. And real news. Say, you don't know how I appreciate your showing me the car this way.
Glad to do it. I'm heading back to town. I'll be glad to take you in if you're going that way.
Well, that's nice of you. I am.
Here's where this V12 engine shines. Slips through traffic like an eel. And when you want to get out of the way of something, like this,
there's an astonishing amount of visibility, too. You can see clearly in every direction. Well, if that isn't fast and easy stopping.
Right you are. These brakes are most efficient.
And the roominess. This seat is plenty wide for 3 people.
Plenty, with room to spare. Just imagine a good-looking girl between us here.
Well, now, this might be a little tough, but I'll try. Now, there's a triumph of the imagination for you. I hope we're not crowding you, madam.
Not a bit. I'm very comfortable. And what a beautiful car.
I knew the ladies would like this car.
Yes, even the imaginary ones.
And the rear seat is wide enough for 3 mothers-in-law, if you can imagine that many.
Oh, are you comfortable, Mother dear?
Perfectly, James. And isn't this a beautiful car?
Well, that's enough of that. But you can't imagine women riding in this car without being enthusiastic about it.
That's right. Here's the factory ahead. I hope you've enjoyed the ride.
I certainly have. But there are a lot of questions I'd like to ask you.
Go ahead. I'll answer anything I can. As a matter of fact, most of your questions will be answered when you get inside the Lincoln plant. As you walk over its thousands of square feet of floor space, you'll see a lot of things you never saw before in any automobile plant. The Lincoln Zephyr is so different that entirely new methods had to be devised to build it. It's not just a new model. Not a modification of existing designs. It is completely new. So on every side, you'll see new machinery designed expressly to build this new car to exacting Ford and Lincoln specifications. Still, this very difference is based on years of experience. The Zephyr's newness doesn't depend on gadgets. It's different in principle, fundamentally different. Yet behind its design and its building is the background of precision craftsmanship that has always been the basis of Lincoln excellence. To illustrate what I mean, let's visit the plant where Lincoln Zephyr bodies are made. There's no such thing as a chassis in this automobile. In the new Zephyr, bodies and frame are welded into a single unit. First, a pressed steel floor unit is welded firmly to the frame, much lighter in weight than conventional frames. To this sound foundation, vertical trusses are welded, and vertical steel plates, front and rear, go into place like bulkheads in a ship. Welded to the frame and to the vertical trusses, the body panels make the frame and body literally into one piece. No seams, joints, bolts, or other things to wear loose, rattle, or squeak.
I never saw bodies built like this before.
Of course not, because each piece is welded electrically with a permanent union, and the weld is even stronger than the steel it fuses together. In the end, we have what is in effect a strong, seamless steel bridge to be set on 2 abutments. In this case, the front and rear axles. The truss or girder construction is patterned after the type used in fabricating modern airplanes or dirigibles. It is tremendously strong for its weight, and each unit is designed so that it has sufficient strength to withstand any ordinary shock or stress it may get, with plenty in reserve. When the Lincoln Zephyr body comes off the final assembly line, it is unlike any other anywhere. There is actually nothing in the world like it. And now let's return to the Lincoln plant and follow these bodies to the finishing department for painting, trimming, and then to the final assembly.
And this is your beauty parlor?
This is undoubtedly the most modern layout for body painting yet devised. On this paint line, everything is moved on conveyors from start to finish. You see the bodies go side by side with the fenders and other sheet metal through every process, so that all are bound to be exactly the same color and shade.
I get the idea. You time the conveyor so that each part reaches its destination at exactly the right time.
Correct. They are timed to the second. Here's another operation you've never seen done like this before. Without the conventional frame, the axles are fastened by means of the springs directly to the body structure. This simplifies assembly and shortens the time required. Here is where the V12-cylinder engine is made, side by side with the famous Lincoln engine. It's made with the same care under Lincoln supervision.
Oh, I see. Well, this has been an eye-opener for me.
You haven't seen the half of it. This quick trip has shown you some of the modern methods used to produce this new fine car at a modest price. But back of it all are the Ford resources and the famous River Rouge plant of the Ford Motor Company. This great plant grew out of the purpose of Henry Ford to build a quality automobile at low cost. Here, through long experience and constant searching for improvement, has been assembled the foremost manufacturing organization in the world. Here also have been developed many of the major advancements in automobile design and construction, as exemplified by the Ford and Lincoln cars. That is the background of experience, resource, and engineering knowledge which has made the Lincoln Zephyr possible. There is another great advantage in the purchase of materials. Because of the vast quantities of steel, copper, alloys, rubber, fabrics, and other materials used by the Ford industries, the price at which they are obtained is always advantageous and is reflected in the low cost of the Lincoln Zephyr. All this may help to explain what you wondered at, that such a splendid automobile could be built to sell for so little.
Oh, I see. It's a combination of Lincoln and Ford organization with the 30 years of Ford experience behind it.
Exactly.
The car means even more when you understand what goes into its making. You know, I'd like to know how it feels to sit behind that wheel.
Go ahead. Help yourself. We'll be selling you one yet.
I shouldn't be surprised. That instrument panel certainly is a beauty. And this interior reminds me of a comfortable living room more than anything else. Oh. About this car, one naturally thinks in headlines. The entire car is headline news, front page news. So I must be getting back to the office to write that story. Thanks a lot. You'll see it in the Gazette.
That'll be fine. Can I give you a lift?
No, thanks. I haven't got far to go. So long.
Goodbye.
Hey, Midge. Midge. I've got it.
You've got what?
Well, I haven't gotten it yet, but when you see it, you'll love it. You'll love it. It's got everything. I've never wanted anything so much since I met you.
Now, just a minute. I recognize the symptoms, and the answer is no.
Oh, but Midge, you never saw anything like this new Lincoln Zephyr. Absolutely new. Looks, riding, performance, everything.
Oh, so it's just a little matter of a new car. The answer is still no.
Now, wait a minute, Midge. Now, no fooling. Now, listen. You know it don't cost anything just to look. So why can't you just look at it? You know, like you'd look at a beautiful picture or a building or something. Oh, come on, honey. Put your hat and coat on, will you?
All right, I suppose I'll have to look. But mind you, we're not buying a new car this year.
Oh, of course not, Midge. I just want you to ride in it. I wouldn't even suggest buying it. Oh, no. Not much. Well, honey, I guess you'll admit now I'm still a good picker. Of course, it's too bad we can't afford it.
Be quiet. Oh, it is lovely. And I certainly would love to have it. As a matter of fact, I'm not so sure we couldn't afford it.
Of course we can, honey. Look. I got it all figured out.
Oh, never mind, Jim. I'm way ahead of you.
Hi, Jim.
Hello, Dave. Giving up flying?
Giving up? Boy, I'm just beginning to fly. Drop around tomorrow and I'll refund that $10 you paid me. You know, I'm riding a new kind of Zephyr now. Well, I'll be seeing you.
Well, come on, Midge. What do you say? Let's go places.
November 1st, 1934. In an office at Dearborn, Henry Ford and W.J. Cameron meet a representative of the press. Mr. Ford reveals plans destined to play an important part in worldwide business recovery.
Mr. Ford, we're nearing the end of 1934, and Mr. Swinehart News is in and talking over the outlook for 1935. And we'd like to ask you a question.
All right, come far away. Well, it's a very interesting question, Mr. Ford. The biggest question that the newspapers are trying to answer today is what 1935 is going to bring, particularly what it's going to mean in easing the Depression. And one of the factors is the Ford plans. Well, as far as we're concerned, the Depression's over. About what in your production run? About 1 million. We'll build 1 million cars next year. 1 million cars? Well, that's wonderful. That'll do a lot to pull the country out of the Depression. Well, 1 million or better. Can I print that? Yes, sir. You're certainly printed. Pardon me just a moment while I get on the telephone.
Ford cars. That means a lot of new jobs.
Yes, but you're not an automobile maker.
Sure I'm not. But this means all kinds of jobs. All over. Even on farms.
I see Henry Ford says he's going to build 1 million cars. Think he can do it?
If he says so, you can bet he'll do it.
1 million cars in 1935. That doesn't seem possible.
Well, Ford usually does what he says. That certainly means the end of the Depression.
While the world debated the ability of the Ford organization to produce and market 1 million cars in a so-called Depression year, Henry and Edsel Ford answered with action. Henry Ford struck the keynote at one of the informal round-table discussions in which Ford executives take part daily. Here, the problems of a busy industrial organization are met one by one, and the company's course is charted in the light of past experience and future ideals. As always, Mr. Ford was brief and to the point.
The answer is work.
To achieve these ends of excellence and precision came thousands of workers to fill thousands of jobs. In the Ford plants alone, over 100,000 men made up the payroll. And over the nation, a far greater number were demanded by the allied industries that helped fill Ford orders. Despite the development of ingenious mechanical manufacturing methods, the foundation of Ford production is manpower. From many localities the workers come, thousands of them riding in cars of their own making. Lines of autos cover miles of parking lots in the Rouge plant. Machines bear the burdens, but the masters are men. There are actually more man-hours of work in every Ford V8 today than there were in the Ford Model T of 10 years ago. Cars in 1935. Merely to build them was not enough. The problem of sales and distribution called for planning on a scale just as widespread as the production. Under the direction of W.C. Cowling, a program of sales promotion was laid out. A carefully prepared advertising campaign carried the story of a new Ford V8 to every prospect. In hundreds of newspapers, including metropolitan dailies, small-town dailies and weeklies, and agricultural publications. In scores of magazines, reaching millions of readers every month in all walks of life. On the air every week, Fred Waring, Tom Waring, the irrepressible Poley, and the matchless Pennsylvanians carried to millions of prospects their scintillating rhythm. with a gracious invitation to drive the Ford V8. And on Sunday evening, into the finest homes throughout the nation, the Ford Sunday Evening Hour brought the splendid music of the Ford Symphony Orchestra and friendly, vital talks by W.J. Cameron over the great coast-to-coast network of the Columbia Broadcasting System. On outdoor posters in cities and towns of every size, the message of Ford V8 value and leadership tied up directly with Ford dealers. But the best laid plans of production and merchandising could not have succeeded without the aggressive cooperation of Ford dealers. All over the country, Ford dealers and their sales forces met their opportunity with enthusiasm and diligence. With the announcement that Ford would build 1 million cars in 1935, they started out to sell that 1 million cars. Adopting Mr. Ford's own axiom that the answer is work, they went to work. No finer tribute can be paid to the efforts of you Ford dealers and salesmen than the factual results of those efforts and the sales records you established. In February, Ford production had reached 6,000 per day, and Ford sales kept pace. By the end of the month, 240,893 new Fords had been sold.
It's no use, Mac. They'll just run you ragged. Nobody can keep up with Ford this year. 581,028 1935 V8s on the road already.
Less than half the year gone, yet Ford already had rolled up a total of 710,569 sales. June saw the production of the 810,700th car for 1935 and the 2 millionth Ford V8. September marked the resumption of the Ford Sunday Evening Hour over the airways of the nation and witnessed the increase of V8 production in 1935 to a total of 962,258. In November, with nearly 2 months left in 1935, the 1 million car prophecy will be fulfilled. Henry Ford will make good his promise of 1 million cars or better in 1935 and do it with plenty to spare.
Of civic pride and a wide main street with its stores and shops. Take this quiet afternoon as an example. No hustle and bustle, no traffic jam, no heedless, needless rush, but up to date, up to the minute, and ready for any emergency that comes along. Uh-oh, what's that?
Yeah. I said there's a fire at Mrs. George Carson's at 103 West Broad. Oh, hurry, please.
Hello?
There's a fire at the George Carson residence at 103 West Broad Street. Will you tell Homer Ketchum?
103 West Broad, okay.
Chesning's telephone operator advises the volunteer firemen of the town.
Hey, Chief! Yeah? There's a fire at 103 West Broad Street.
Okay, let's go, boys. Okay.
The George Carson residence, 103 West Broad.
How much are them gloves?
Them is 50 cents, and these are 25.
Where's the fire?
103 West
You'll
Broad.
have to excuse me, I'll have to go.
Merchants and citizens dropped their task to become operators of the town's firefighting equipment.
Beacon works.
At the George Carson residence, on 103 West Broad.
Okay.
Residence at 103 West Broad Street.
Not a moment is lost. Recruits are picked up on the run. That pickup. I've never thought of a Ford V8, especially a fire engine, as an aid to sound sleep. But that's exactly what it is to the citizens of Chesaning. With the Ford truck on the job, the worry of fire unchecked is off their list. Thus, Chesaning shows the way to communities in need of efficient, dependable firefighting equipment at a purchase price that doesn't bend the budget.
Well, we sure put down on the hurry. I'll say we did. And if it hadn't been for this Ford V8, we wouldn't have been there in time.
Yes, that testimonial was